All right, guys, welcome back to the show. I'm Mario.
And I'm Peter.
And we're
the guys that listen.
On today's show, we got one of my good friends, Anton, on. Anton, tell us a little about yourself.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me on the show. Appreciate you
yeah.
so much, Mario and Peter.
Of course.
My name is Anton. I grew up here in Orange County. I came to Orange County when I was 8 years old. My dad was in the military working for the South of Vietnam.
Oh.
And after the Vietnam War, he was in prison for about 8 years. And because he was in prison, he was able to be sponsored by the United States government, and we were able to come to America back in 1989 or 90.
Wow.
And then
That's pretty crazy. I didn't know that.
now I'm back. I still back and forth, but majority of the time I'm actually in Arizona.
Arizona, what part?
Phoenix, Arizona, or you call it Greater Phoenix because it's pretty big. So I travel. I'm actually not stationary anymore because I do the van life.
Yeah.
Recently, I've been on the van life for the past almost 2 years. So I'm like a nomad. I travel all across the desert. And it's a little bit hot in Arizona during the summertime. But I had to push to it this summer. You grew up a lot from there. But I do travel back and forth to California, different places. And currently my life is in doing the van life.
No, that's actually like just a little backstory.
Yeah.
I met Anton a few years at, I think, Thanksgiving, actually.
Yeah, my sister's house.
Yeah, your sister's
Oh,
house.
really?
I came in with my ao yai.
3,
and
4
we-
years. I know. If you guys don't know
Hey,
what an ao
appropriating
yai
our
is.
culture and shit.
Yeah. If you guys don't know what ao yai is, it's a traditional Vietnamese outfit. It's called a long shirt. And people call it dresses, but no, ao yai actually stands for long shirt.
Yeah.
So it's a
Literal
traditional
term.
long shirt. And he comes in, and then he was all gangster out. I'm like, damn, this guy is cool. And then I didn't have one on at the time. So I went to the room.
Yeah,
and
you
then
did. You went back and you
I
changed.
went to the room and I changed out with a pimp out big red one with a big ass dragon on my
Wow.
shirt. And we all partied out for Thanksgiving. And I still remembered
That's
it.
so funny.
That was funny.
And then we reconnected a few weeks ago at Catherine's wedding. And I was like, hey,
Catherine's,
man, like,
Catherine and Roy's wedding.
how you been? He's like, and that's when I was like, dude, you need to come on. He's like, yeah, I left like all my stuff. I doing the van life now. I left everything I know. I need to
Yeah.
go find myself. I went soul searching.
Wow.
And he's just like, I just left everything behind, my whole like life here. And I was like, dang,
It was a little bit crazy because even sometime when I'm in the middle of the van life, in the middle of the woods or in the city or in the park, I think about it sometime in the middle of the night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep. I'm like, man, I'm actually in a van in the middle of nowhere and just by myself and my dog. I have a beautiful 2-year-old Great Pyrenees. She's white.
Aw.
She's beautiful. And a lot of people say if she was a human being, she would be like a Victoria's Secret supermodel.
Oh, wow.
Gorgeous.
We need
And-
pictures of this.
Yeah, see that dog. And we're just in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, oh my God, I left everything behind. And when I say I left everything behind, I actually did. Because my parents or friends that I know, they're like, hey, why don't you keep your house and try this out for a few months? And see if you don't like it. If you don't like it, go back to your house. Don't you feel like you're letting go of a beautiful home? You got such a nice house. Because I really took care of my house. I have a beautiful front yard. The inside, because I gutted everything and make it all brand new. The backyard is lovely. And then I was like, hey, you know what? It's weird. If I don't even miss it, I was wondering why people that my friends and my family miss it when it's not even theirs. So we all have attachment to things, and because we're so attached to it, it actually anchors us and brings us down, and people don't realize that. And the reason why I had to let it go, completely go, is because of this. Imagine if you are a tightrope walker and you're walking on a mountain from one mountain to another, just on a rope, and you tightrope walk with a stick to balance yourself, right? And it's really high. If you fall, you will die. But these people, they tightrope across the mountain. What if they fall? They're not afraid of falling because they have a safety harness, right? So are they really, really brave? Yes, they are, but 100% brave, not really, right? Because they have a safety harness. If I would have gone out and try out the van life and still kept everything, and if I don't like it for a month and 2 months, I come back, it'll be okay. It'll be like a long vacation, but I want to do it. And I want to be brave. I want to let go of everything. So I had to get rid of my house, got rid of it. And once I got rid of my house, when I was cleaning up my house before I go on the van life, I was like, oh my God, I got so much stuff everywhere. In my garage is packed full of stuff, clothes, electronics, still in brand new packages, and I never use. I hoard all this brand new stuff, but I never use it. Why? I'm thinking, why? And I had to let it go. I had to give it to people. When I give it to people, my friends, my neighbors, I felt a lot more free. Because the things that you actually hold on to, you think it's your material possession, that your value comes from it. It's actually weighing you down. It's almost like Jesus and Buddha. They always say the same thing: let go of your materialist possession. They even tell you let go of your husband, your wife, your kids, your children, right? And come with me, follow me. I was raised Catholic. I went to church since I was a super young kid, and I hear this stuff all the time. But I hear it, but it goes from one ear and out the other. Yeah. I never really understand or internalize it until I go on the van life, what it means to let go. So people ask, why do you do this? And I want to answer them with this. Because recently, about 2 years ago, I felt like I had a lot. Even though I didn't have as much as other people, but I felt I had a lot. I had a beautiful home. I had a smart, beautiful fiance at the time. She was a medical doctor, and I felt like I had a lot. And
like that traditional like family, like the wife, almost wife, the house, like
yes, I had
for you.
everything already, but I'm like, how come I'm not fully happy?
Oh,
right. When you seem like you have everything. How come I'm not happy? And I was questioning that. And once we mutually broke up, she went her way and I went my way. I'm like, hey, why don't I do something a little bit different? Why don't I do something for my soul instead of for my physical being? Oh. And I saw, I was thinking about Mother Teresa. I was thinking about Jesus. I was thinking about Buddha. And I was thinking, how come the whole world bows down to these three people? And never for a day in their life did these three people look for money.
Yeah.
Right? How come when we see billionaires, presidents, kings, and emperors, we see them and we're like, oh, that's cool. But then we give them a respect or admiration for a second, but that's it. But when we see Jesus, Buddha, and Mother Teresa, our soul the whole world bows to these three people. And never for a day in their life, they go look for money. Yeah. And I think to myself, it must be something, the journey must be sacred. So in order to do that, I can't do that. Back in 2,000 years ago, when Jesus was still alive, or Buddha was 2,500 years ago, they go into the forests or the woods and be by themselves a lot. Modern day, it's a little bit hard. I can't do it, but it's a little harder for me to do it. Yeah. But what's the closest thing? I'm like, hey, you know what? Let me try the van life. So I did. And I originally was going to just get a mobile home. And then I called my sister up. I have an adopted sister here in Orange County. She's super spiritual. Okay. I'm like, I want to do this. And she's like, hey, you know what, Anton? The idea is noble. It's beautiful. Do it. But the idea of having a mobile home where you have to you pull it with your truck, in the city, it's very, very hard. So why don't you try out the van life? And I'm like, I don't know what the van life is. And she gave me a YouTube video, and people are actually living in like a Dodge Ram ProMaster. It's very stealth. You don't know what's going on inside. It looks like a regular truck, a regular working truck, but people have their whole entire home in there. It's very stealth, and you have pretty much everything. You have a bed, you have a refrigerator, you have a sink, but it's very minimalized. I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's like a car, a little bit bigger in the car. It's easy to drive around, and I like how stealth it is, because I would like to be able to stay in parks or in the city if I need to, and not get pulled and not get my door knocked in the middle of the night by the cops because a neighbor called on me, like some guy's living in the van. And I have to move.
Shady guys in your front yard.
So I went back to Arizona. 2 days later, I took a picture of a ProMaster I just purchased for like $17,000.
Yeah.
A company downsized, and they got rid of their truck, and it was just an empty shell. I sent it to my sister in California, like, hey, sister, guess what? I just got this. And she's like, oh my God, Anton, I've been wanting to do this for the past 3 years, and I just told you about it, and now after 3 days, you already got it? I'm like, yeah, I just got it.
Wow, that's fast.
She's like, bring it over here to California. Let me and you build it together. And that's what we did. I took it over to California in Anaheim, and me and her built it together for 10 months.
Whoa.
And then we converted it from an empty shell into an actual tiny home.
Wow. I need a picture of this.
Yeah, it's so cool. I would love to bring it to you guys next time. So
that'd
you guys
be awesome.
Can actually go in and actually take a look at it. You could interview me with a camera. It's really, really cool. And it's funny. It took 10 months. My sister says, you know what, Anton, if I was going to do it myself, it'd probably only take me 4 months to do it. With your help, I thought it was going to be faster, but turns out it's longer.
Wow.
It was such a huge change for me, to do something like this, and I had to get rid of everything. So physically, I was there, But spiritual, emotionally, I was still a little bit delayed, a bit behind. So it was harder for me to wrap my head and try to, forget about the whole world. But I'm glad. But it taught me this. It taught me that even though it was so hard to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, start building the van, and we built it all day and night.
Yeah.
Sometimes we built it till midnight.
Dang.
And during the monsoon season, when it's raining for a week, I was like so happy because it was like February when it was raining for a week. I'm like, oh my God, I got a week off. I don't have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And guess what? I thought I was going to get to sleep until noon. She wakes my ass up at 6 o'clock in the morning. She's like, hey, you thought you were getting a break?
Wow, she
Joke's
knew.
on you. Go to Home Depot, grab yourself, buy a big ass tent. We're going to work underneath the tent. And I thought
wow.
we did. And then she was such a slave driver.
Yeah.
But I think it was it was what I needed. Somebody
Yeah.
who
Is she an older sister?
she's an adopted sister.
Oh, adopted
she's older
sister.
than me. She's about
Okay.
13 years older than me. And
Yeah.
the crazy thing is,
Wow.
guess what? She's a woman. She built 70% of the van.
Yeah.
I did like 30. I think I'm giving myself a little bit of extra credit for doing
Yeah.
30, but she did a lot because she's been researching it for the past 3 years. She
Yeah.
was gonna do it
Oh.
herself. But she was researching it, and then she was gonna do it. But I happened to come during the right time when she was free, so we did it to build the first van together by myself.
Dude, she sounds like a badass.
Not only
Yeah,
is
she
she's a
sounds tough.
badass, she's a woman. She's like 5'0"
Wait,
on
have you
a
met her?
good
Whoa.
day.
Have I met her?
Not yet, but it'd be cool that you meet her. She's like 5'0" on a good day.
On a
And
good
she's
day.
53, right? She's a house mom.
Yeah.
She actually helped me build the van. She did majority work of it, and she only has one arm.
What?
She only has her right arm. She lost her left arm when
Oh
she
my
was
God,
like.
is it-
Jesus.
Is it crazy?
Yeah,
Is
it's
this-
crazy.
What?
She lost her left arm when she was 6 or 7 years old back in
wow.
Vietnam because during the war, she was still like 7 years old. She came home from school, and on her way home from school, she crossed the beach to get to her home. And during the Vietnam War, a few dead soldiers was because of the war, they died
Yeah.
on the beach. And she grabbed a grenade from their tool belt, from their I don't know what you call it, tool belt or armory
Yeah.
belt. And she thought it was a toy. She brought it home. She pulled the pin in the living room. The thing blew up
Jesus.
and blew off her arm. Can you imagine a grenade? If I pull right here, all of us probably gonna die.
Yeah.
How is it possible that only blew out her arm and she didn't die from it? So we're all thinking, people who are spiritual believe that because she's a light worker, she helps so many people spiritually that even though it wasn't her destiny to go. So angels or the universe sent out an angel to protect her, and all it took what cost was her arm, so that way she could continue her journey of light and to help other people in the future. So she only has one arm, and she's a woman. And because she lost one arm at such a young age, her dad had to change the way he raised her.
Yeah.
She knows, she's gonna be, it's gonna be a difficult life for her. So he makes her do everything possible to become as resilient, as
independent.
strong.
Oh.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
trained her at such a young age to do all the things that men can do, she can do.
Wow.
Fixing cars, fixing bikes, fixing anything
Building
around
a
the
van.
house. Yeah,
Dude, that's so.
they
that's-
didn't have van back in the day in Vietnam, so that's what she did. That's why she's so
That's
strong,
crazy.
resilient,
Dude, she's cool,
mentally.
man.
She's bulletproof.
Yeah.
I consider her one of my. She's my guardian angel.
Aw.
Even though we're not blood, but it doesn't take blood to make family.
Yeah.
It takes family to make family. So I'm very, very grateful and honored that she's my big sister, and we know each other about 10 years ago when I was going through my alcoholic stage. Well, actually, I met her when I was my first year trying to quit alcohol.
Oh.
I was very addicted to alcohol 10 years ago.
Wait, so you said that she's adopted and you've
No,
met.
I'm sorry. The Eastern term or the Asian term, as in, if we're very close, we're friends only.
Oh,
But
okay.
we're so close to each other. I adopted you as my brother.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you
Oh,
adopted
okay.
his
Yeah,
brother,
yeah, I get
you
what
know?
you're saying.
It's not like an official adoption.
Yeah.
But it's like street creds.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
you
That's why
adopt
when
each
you
other
said
as
10 years, I
10
was
years
like,
ago.
she got adopted like 40 years old. I was, holy cow.
How old is her dad?
It's funny. I have another guardian angel of mine. His name is RK. He's over in Arizona. He was actually adopted in his 40.
What?
Yeah, he was
How?
adopted in 40 by his best friend parents. He was so gifted when he's also a light worker in Arizona where he helps people, and his best friend, his parents was going to go through a divorce, but because of him, he showed his parents the way of love and giving, and how to be in a relationship instead of being in a relationship where you ask, okay, I'm your husband. So it's your responsibility as a wife to make me happy And you say the same thing. I'm the wife.
Yeah,
It's
get in the kitchen,
your
cook for me.
responsibility as my husband to make me happy. He's like, hey, no. Just you can't do that. You can't project yourself onto the other person and expect them
Yeah.
to make you happy. You got to be happy first. In order to be happy first, then you know how to make other people happy. It's almost like if you saw somebody drowning in the river. In order to jump in and save them, you got to know how to swim yourself.
Oh.
Imagine if you don't know how to swim, you jumped in, you saved
That
them.
is a good metaphor.
Both of them will die. So love or relationship is like that. Before you get into a relationship, you got to understand how to love yourself first. And then you got to understand how to love yourself. Now we come together.
Yeah.
Now we share our happiness with each other.
Yeah.
Instead of sharing our baggage, ways us down even more.
Yeah.
So he's a light worker in there. And then once he saved that relationship, his best friend's parents from getting divorced, they were so honored. And they felt so grateful. So they adopted him
Dang.
into the family officially. I'll go out to the courthouse,
That's
sign everything,
crazy.
and change the last name. And he became officially adopted to be part of their family.
Wow.
What about his original family?
His originally family is there, but his parents passed away.
Oh, okay.
So-
I'm like, damn, you're just gonna
so they
steal him from
adopted
another
him.
family.
Yeah.
He was in his
Imagine.
40s already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was in his 40s, and like I said, blood doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
makes you family. Family
Sure.
makes you family. So that's one thing I love about that. So I met my sister. Her name is Twa in Orange County 10 years ago, and I was going through it was the first few months of going through trying to recover and quit alcohol.
Yeah.
Because I was addicted to alcohol for like 10, 11 years.
What-
I was
what do you
drinking
mean?
very, very bad.
Like, what do you mean by like addicted?
Addicted. I almost died from alcohol. I spent 5 days in a coma in the hospital.
What?
Yeah, from drinking alcohol so much. After I woke up 5 days later, the doctor says, if you came in 5 minutes late, your lung would have collapsed. You would have died. And he says they've never seen anybody with that alcohol level that made it. They all died.
Yeah.
And I'm a small guy. Actually, I saw my soul came out of my body, and I flew over to my mom and dad's house, and they were sitting there on the couch, and I was kneeling at my mom's feet. My dad sitting next to her, and I was crying so bad. I was like, Mom and Dad, thank you for sacrificing your whole life to raise me right, but I'm sorry, all I bring you is suffering and tears and heartaches. I can't repay you this lifetime because I'm about to go. Hopefully, next lifetime I could repay you back. And then I saw my soul flew back in my body, and I woke up in the hospital.
Can you elaborate on that story? Because like it sounds like you kind of knew that you were like addicted. You had a problem for a while.
I knew I was addicted
Right?
because I grew up. After I graduated from college, and we were very poor. After I graduated in college 2003 from engineering, and then that time the economy was really bad for engineering. So I was washing dishes for $4.50 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like $4.50 compared now, minimum wage is what, $20 now? That's like a
15,
long time
16.
ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I have an engineering degree. I'm washing dishes. Man, what's going on? And I was very proud of myself because within 2 weeks, I got 2 raises from the owner.
Oh,
And
nice.
I'm like, man, I felt like the man. Like, damn, washing
$4
dishes.
to $6.
Yeah. $4. He gave me a quarter raise.
Oh, nice.
But twice in 2 weeks, Asian people don't give people raises.
Yeah.
For years, I get
Where
two
were you
raises.
working, Anton?
I was washing dishes at a restaurant.
Like a Wong Yao or like.
No. Like Wang Yao. That's a bar. I'd be worse trouble. It was just for a pho restaurant.
Oh, okay,
Oh, it's
because
for a pho restaurant.
I look at the Wong Yaos, and then I see like they have like the old Vietnamese people who don't have papers, and they pay them like $5 an hour
Yeah, it's-
now. And I'm
yeah,
like,
it's-
sad.
It's like sweatshops.
Yeah.
So
So I thought maybe you were working at a sweatshop.
I wish I was. So I'm like, man, I'm kind of proud of myself. I earned this. I earned it. I didn't go steal. I didn't, con people out.
Yeah.
I actually worked really hard, and I'm like, man, I got 2 raises in 2 weeks. I'm a badass. And then the owner says, Anton, I love you. I want to give you 2 raises, but it's not what you think. Says, please don't break the dishes anymore. So after I worked there for 6 months, and then one of my dad's friend came in for a restaurant, and he's like, Anton, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm washing dishes. I'm working here temporarily. I'm like, aren't you an engineer? I'm like, yes, I graduated as an engineering, but I suck at it. I don't know what to do. He's like, why don't you do real estate? I'm like, real estate? What's that? I'm like, maybe it's better than this. So I went and got my real estate license, and I became a realtor. And for the first 6 months, I was sitting doing nothing. I'm like, man, I suck at washing dishes. Now I suck at real estate too. I'm like, man, I can't get a break. But after 6 months, and then things start picking up, I got one client, and then one client turns out and referred me other people. So I was doing decent. I wasn't doing great, but in my mind, I was doing I was hot shit at the time.
Yeah.
Because coming from making $4 an hour, I was making $4,000 a month, which is a huge difference for somebody who's 22, 23. So I was like, damn, I'm a baller now. So I started like drinking, parties at the end, partying on Friday, Saturday, celebrating with friends.
Did you already
clubbing.
drink prior, or did?
No, I didn't drink it. I drink a little bit, but when you have, because can't have money. You don't have money, you can't drink.
Yeah.
Back when I was in college, engineering school, we were so poor. Me and my best friend in college, we actually during lunchtime, we would go to our cars and look for quarters underneath the doormat, the car mat, to find 99 cents, so we could go to Jack in the Box and buy a junior cheeseburger, which is 99 cents at the time.
Yeah.
We could only afford one, so we split in half and share
What?
with each other. That's how poor we was.
That's
so we can't
crazy.
afford alcohol. So, coming from being so poor, and then now I'm making $4,000 a month, you start partying Friday and Saturday only. And then once you get a transaction middle of the night, like, man, I just sold a house. Instead of waiting till the weekends, I'm gonna party today. It's Wednesday.
wow. Yeah.
Wednesday is the weekend. Is the weekday's weekend. So we start partying so much and you start drinking, you just become a habit.
Yeah.
So we start. It becomes a habit, and it was just fun. When you're doing good and you're having fun, you're drinking, it's no problem. But when things are not going so well for you, and now you're using alcohol as a coping mechanism, as medication, it's a different story.
Yeah.
So when things weren't going well in life or in business or in relationship, I use alcohol as a coping mechanism. Like, I wake up in the morning, first thing in the morning, 3 shots of vodka.
Oh,
Wow.
shit.
That's how I wake up. That's how I function. Because
So-
I think I'm smoother when I have a drink in me.
What was there like a? I mean, it sounds like you started your drinking phase a little later, right? Because you didn't have money.
Yeah.
It also sounds like your relationship with alcohol didn't change until it seems like you hit like a rough patch.
Rough time. Yeah. When you hit the rough times, you're more dependent on it.
Yeah.
And then you use it to cope, and you drink extra to cope. Okay, let's say, for example, if I have a dog and it's shit in this room, how do you get the smell and the shit out? I have to scoop it up and throw it out, right? In order to get rid of
Wash
it.
it.
But now I didn't have the capability of doing that. I would use newspaper. I put over it. I
Yeah.
don't see it.
Spray
but
some
the
cologne
problem
on it.
is still
Yeah.
there.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you were using alcohol as like a band-aid for
as
your
a
other
band-aid
issues in life.
for the real stuff in life.
Yeah.
Because when you start drinking so much, you can't function.
Yeah.
I can barely crawl to the bathroom.
Wow.
To take a piss, not to mention do anything else. And then I had a few people that was working underneath me, and then I was just using alcohol just to get by through the day.
Oh, wow.
And eventually it adds up to the day, to the point that I was drinking so much I ended up in the hospital for 5 days in a coma. And then afterward, everybody's like, you would think that I would learn my lesson.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah, I didn't
Wow.
learn my lesson. I quit for 2 weeks, and afterwards said, alcohol, I could beat you. I could stop anytime.
Yeah.
I went back at it even harder. I was in and out of the hospital another 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
And then finally, my body gave up, and then I was hurting so bad where I was just laying there, and I'm hearing noises. I can't go to sleep. Every time I'm so tired. Every time I close my eyes, I feel like I'm falling into an abyss. It's darkness. It's hellish.
Yeah.
And then I would see like little baby bodies of like little babies with head of demons, like a cow or a bull or a pig, and they were chasing me with a fork and a knife, and they trying to eat me alive.
Wow.
So I can't close my eyes, go to sleep because I see that, and then I'm awake and I can't get any rest. So it was a very, very dark times in my life.
Jeez.
And then I was hearing so much voices, and finally I said, you know what? God spoke to me, or I'm finally hearing God now. God always speaks to you, but do you hear him or not? People always say I pray a lot so that way he can hear me, but it actually is the reverse. We pray a lot so that way we can hear him. And finally, before I'm about to go, I'm like, hey, you know what? God, I hear God now. They gave me two options. One is to quit, or the second is to die. I already have so many chances of life already. I'm like, this is the last chance.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, you know what? I got to get away from this atmosphere. So I had to move to California, Orange County, and stay with Catherine's mom.
Oh, no way.
For 3-4 months.
Yeah.
And then it's funny, Catherine, I stayed with her, but Catherine didn't even know I was there for 3-4 months because I love you, Catherine's mom, but she's a hoarder. She hoards so much stuff.
Oh, Kat's mom?
Yeah,
Kat's
mom.
she's a
I'm
hoarder.
not sure you've been to her house. So because she got so much stuff around, I was sleeping right on the floor on the couch right? And then there's newspaper, piles of clothes.
Yeah,
so
can't
she
see
never
it.
noticed me. And next to me would be like a bottle of vodka or a 6-pack. But she never knew because she goes to school early and she comes home to work late. And she goes straight up to her room. And I'm there in the living room, but she never noticed me because I got shit everywhere. It's like a fortress of stuff.
What year was this?
The end of 2013, beginning
Okay.
2014.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is when Roy and Catherine started dating.
Yeah.
I have a beautiful, cute story. I'll tell later about it. When I've actually caught them lying to their mom so they could go to Hawaii.
Oh,
Remind me of that story. It's really fun because Catherine had hired a hired gun, which is her best friend Vivian,
Yeah.
to come in like, hey, Auntie, can me and the girls go to Hawaii together? It's only the girls. And then Catherine's mom, oh, if only the girls, okay. And then they would go out and they get into the car, right? After they get into the car and drive off, Roy and one of the guys would actually sneak into the car and they drive off together. But I happened to be walking outside throwing out away the trash that day.
Yeah.
And I saw them, right? And Catherine saw me. He's like, hey, my cousin walking out. Go. And then Roy, okay, here's the car going this way. Roy's trying to get into the car. And as Catherine yelling to him to go away, he veered off 180 and ran that way. It was so obvious, you know?
Yeah.
And then, but the cool thing about me is that
You're not a snitch?
I'm not a snitch.
Oh,
So I hold it off
perfect.
for like 6-7 years until they got engaged. When they got engaged, and I told the story to everybody, and they all laughed. They're like, "Oh my God, you were there the whole time! You
Yeah.
saw them?" Like, "Yeah, I was there." I thought you were drunk. I'm like, I'm still kind of functioning here and there. And so I stayed at Catherine's mom for 3-4 months, and then she was crying to me every day. She's like, "Man, well, Anton, you're a bright kid. How come you get to this stage? It's so bad."
So
I'm
you
like, "I
moved
don't
over
know."
there, but you were still having that.
I was
alcohol
having that,
problem?
but then finally, I kicked it, and I like, okay, I'm not gonna do it anymore. So when I was able to get about 4 or 5 months of not drinking, and then I'm like, shit, I'm doing pretty good now. I could drive. Before I couldn't drive because I was shaking so much because from the withdrawal.
Withdrawals, yeah.
And finally, I was able to drive. So I'm like, I have a lot of free time. I'm not working. I don't have any money, so I stop by Costco a lot because Costco give you a free sample. I take 2 rounds. I'm full. And then I'm like, hey, I like bonsai. So I went to Flip Flop Talk, the one on
Asian Garden Mall.
Asian
Boston.
Mall.
Yeah.
And then they got like bonsai shows there and stuff like that. So I came there, and I went to the bonsai shop. And at the bonsai shop, guess who's selling bonsai? My sister Twa, my adopted sister, who actually was selling there.
Oh.
She's spiritual. She's psychic. She's like, hey, you know what? I bought a tree from her. And then something says to herself, she didn't tell me this till years later. She's like, I met you that day and you got a bonsai from me. I said it to myself. I saw your soul. She has the ability to see through people's soul. I saw your soul is actually pretty bright, but for some reason it's just dangling there. It's like it doesn't have a purpose, doesn't know where it's going, so it's lost. And she told to herself, like, if you come back here within the next 2 weeks to my shop, we're connected forever for the rest of our life. Yeah, she gave me 2 weeks to come back, but she didn't tell me about it. She only said it to herself. I came back the next day, so she's like, oh, "Man, I knew we're gonna be connected for life." But I couldn't be really close to her because it's like karma. Just because you've been doing something really bad for the past 10 years, just because you quit today, doesn't mean shit's gonna go good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to pay back your karmic debt. So I was seeing her maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Every time I go back to Arizona, go out and eat with her, until eventually when I was doing the van life, I came back and I talked to her, and then she's like, "You know what? Finally, the time came for you to actually come back to me. I knew this time would come, but it took 8 years after you quit your alcohol for me to really help you. So once now I'm able to help you build the van, I'm gonna transfer a lot of light and love and understanding to you. You're gonna become a new person. You'll fall again, but once you fall again, you would still be able to pick yourself back up. You wouldn't just fall like, oh fuck, life is over.
Yeah.
So I was super grateful that 10 months I was able to live with her and built that van, days and night, and we grew a lot from there. She was able to give me a lot of experience in her life. The stuff that I went through is like a fraction, 1 or 2 grain of sand compared to what she went through throughout her life. So I learned a lot. I became I didn't change. I just elevated and became a better version of myself. And that's all. Because I love the saying, like, a harmless man is not a good man.
Yeah.
An extremely dangerous man who has control of himself, no, that's a good man.
Yeah.
So thank to her. I'm very thankful to all the guardian angels of my life. Sister Twa is one of them. Big brother RK, and many other people in my life. I'm very, very appreciative too. So now I just want to be able to live in happiness, which I am, and pay it forward as much as I can.
That's awesome.
Thank you, guys.
No, of course.
And that's the end of the show. So you talk about a lot about how, you know, you have these adopted siblings who are very important to you, but what about your like actual siblings and your family?
My mom and dad is a little older. We just actually celebrated his 80th birthday.
Oh, nice.
Like a day before Catherine's wedding. So he's a little older. They're more old fashioned. It's hard for them to grasp and understand what I'm going through when they hear me, like I'm getting ready to my house and going on the van life. It's like, God, you worked so hard to get your kid out of the ghetto. Now he's getting back to the ghetto.
I almost spent some time in the ghetto, Mom, in my van.
Yeah, but they understand it's a journey because there's a saying in Eastern philosophy, you have to have your home first. Once you have your home first, everything else comes after. That's how your home is your foundation, your core foundation. Everything else is built on after. But to them, having a home is literally a physical thing.
Yeah, like a
actual
physical
home.
location.
But people don't realize that I learned this on my van life. My brakes went out on the van, so I went to AutoZone to buy some brakes. And I was talking to the front desk guy who helped me got the brake, and I learned it's a beautiful lesson for me because. Beautiful experience, I should say. I don't want to say lesson. It's a little bit, a lot of heavy burden on your shoulder. I like to call it experiences. I prejudged the guy. He looked a little, I should say, gangster. All right. I'm like, man, this kid is young. He looks a little gangster. What does he know about life? And then I was getting the brakes. He's like, what are you getting the brakes from? I'm like, oh, I'm doing the van life. I'm like, that's so cool. I'm like, why are you doing it? I was like, oh, I'm doing it to find myself. Soul searching journey. I told him, like, you know, I don't understand why Jesus and Buddha went to the woods for, and that's what I'm trying to find. And this kid is young, and guess what he told me? He says, Jesus and Buddha went to the forest to plant seeds. He gave me chills all over my body. I'm like, holy shit! This little kid that I prejudged because he looks gangsta turned out to be one of my guardian angel. Because I still can't. I only met him once, but he left an imprint in me for the rest of my life, probably till many lifetime after this. He says, Jesus and Buddha went to the forest to plant seeds in human soul. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my God, my journey, my van life journey is to figure out why.
Yeah.
And he gave me that answer. His name is John. He's actually the manager of AutoZone. I think I'm here on Bolsa and Magnolia or something like that. Big shout out to John. Yeah. You're my man.
It seems like you can derive. I'm a big believer you can derive inspiration from anything.
Yeah.
You know, anyone, anything in your life. You know, some people find it in like the different ways. Like some people find it from anime. Some people find it from random people they meet on the street or anything. And I think that's like a skill set. You know, you being able to like derive this kind of like, okay, this person told me this, and it affects you so much. You know, you resonate with it, and so now like you've taken that into your life. So what seeds have you planted on your van life? Like what have you done?
Yeah.
That's changed
So the one experience I learned is don't prejudge a person by their exterior appearances, and you know what? I try to, but sometimes we still do it.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I'm trying my best to be very aware and consistent of.
Yeah.
Is to plant that, not judge, and even though I don't judge people what they do, but I can still gauge.
Yeah.
Right. I gauge so that way I could decide for myself whether I would like that person to be in my life or not. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't fit for me, thank you so much. You know, I don't want you in my life. But if they do fit, and like, I thank you so much. I would like to spend more time with you, having my life. Yeah. So I gauge instead of judge. That's the thing I learned from my big brother RK in Arizona. So I'm very, very grateful. There's so many other things it taught me to plant that seed of love, to love and not ask for anything back in return. A lot of us, when we're getting into a romantic relationship or any relationship in life, we always ask, okay, I'm going to do this for you. What are you going to do for me? Husband and wives do that. Father and son, mom and daughter. But if you really love somebody and you ask for something back in return, it's a transaction. It's a business transaction.
So it's unconditional
So
for
it's
you.
unconditional love. If I try to do anything I do and not ask for anything back, right? Because if you ask for anything back, it's not unconditional anymore. Yeah. And people are like, oh, well, I have a life to live. I got stuff. I got to take care of myself, my family. I need to ask for stuff back, but people don't realize, because before I understood it. When you go to the Bible school and you hear things in life, give is better than receiving. but we hear it all the time. It's a difference between hearing something than truly internalizing and understanding it as a part of you.
It's funny
So
because
through
some
that, I
of
understand.
us have like a very opposite. Like Peter, he's more of a. We talked about this the other time, where it's like you have more conditional relationships, right? If someone isn't bringing something into your life, like why am I going to give something back?
So I try to do that. Like even let's say I do something for people, and then people would ask me, Anton, you're just doing that so that way people could repay you. I'm like, no, the things I do for people, bring a smile to people's face, they could never repay me back.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't ask for anything in return. Anyway, so what is there for me to get from them? My happiness coming from just them being happy and seeing a smile on their face, and hopefully I could share that light and pass it forward and synergize it and pay it forward in life to people they don't know, to their family, to their brothers and sisters. So I think once you gotta, like I said, you gotta understand how to love yourself first before you can truly love somebody else. And that has been the biggest blessing in my life, to understand it and to apply it.
I
A
agree
lot
with
of
that.
people understand it, but applying it is a different story.
So do you
application with it
think
too.
you've gotten to a point where, because you went from being an alcoholic, and then now you have all these other things where, like, how did you become like an MMA trainer?
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, thank you so much for that.
I'm like, I think Peter knows one of your friends or one of your trainers,
sweet.
Henry.
Henry.
Henry
Corrales?
Corrales. Yes, he's
Yeah.
my boy.
Yeah.
We
Nice.
trained together over in Arizona. He's really
Nice.
really cool.
Yeah, that's my boy.
Homeboy's gangster.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he's-
is.
He's still
You want to judge him?
commissary.
For
Yeah,
he's still Arizona.
He's still in
I
Arizona.
thought he was a commissary,
Actually,
right? He used to work there?
No, he hasn't. Well, he hasn't worked there.
He
in,
used
like,
to though, right?
a long
Okay, that's
time
right.
ago.
Yeah.
Henry Corrales. Yes, he's really cool. Actually, we're pretty close. We're pretty tight. When he had something, he usually call me and check on the real estate game to see what's going on, to pick people's brains. So he's very smart, very genuine guy. He's just straight out badass. We have the same coach, which is Eddie Cha. Coach Eddie
okay.
Cha
Yeah.
is world famous. He's like one of the top striking coach in the world.
Oh.
And I did martial art when I was a kid. But then, when you grow up, you start, partying more instead of doing martial arts. So once I was able to kick alcohol, now I'm able
Pun
to
intended?
take alcohol out.
Yeah.
Now there's an empty space inside of you. You need to replace with something.
Yeah.
Or else that it will relapse pretty quickly. It's almost like I learned this from Brother RK. It's like the earth. We're pulling out so much oil and stuff from the earth, right? But we don't put anything back into it. If we don't put anything back to it, that's why there's so much fissure. The earth is collapsing, and people can't figure out why. Because you take stuff out and you don't put anything back, it will collapse.
So you put MMA into that hole?
Yes. So once I was able to quit alcohol, I'm like, I got to replace with something. Otherwise, I would withdraw.
Yeah.
So I went like, you know what, martial arts. Let's go back to martial arts. So I went back to martial arts, and was luckily Coach Eddie Chow was actually here in California. He moved to Arizona because he got recruited by one of the top MMA gym in Arizona, and I happened to be at that gym. So when he came, I started there. I was at my initial stage of getting back to martial art, and he took me underneath his wing, and he treated me like a brother and a student, and it went on from there. At first, I'm like, man, I'm a little older. I'm in my 30s. I can't be a fighter. But Coach's like, I know you can't. You can if you want to, but if you don't want to be a fighter, I see you're actually talented. Why don't you help me train the fighters?
You were how old?
I was 30. I was in my early 30s.
That's not
Probably
too late
32,
for us.
33.
No.
Because most fighters starts when they were fighting when they were like 16.
Yeah.
To 30. Now they go to 35, but it's rare for people to pass 30. So I started training as fighters and just doing it every day, repetition. Eventually, I don't know. I'm like, damn, I'm actually pretty decent. Coach is like, Anton, you're very, very talented. Beside me, you're the next best thing. So keep it up. So I don't know if he was saying that just to inspire me,
Yeah.
but or what. But I was actually pretty decent. So I started training a lot of his fighters, and I didn't become good until I started training seriously his because a lot of people that make the jump to MMA from collegiate wrestling. You see all the current UFC champions, Bellator champions, most of them come from wrestling.
Yeah.
But after college wrestling, where do you go from there? WWE?
Yeah,
These
hell yeah.
guys, you know what I mean?
Lots of
WWE, you got to be like 6'4" and above, and these
Yeah.
guys are a little smaller, so they make the transition in MMA. And then I'm like, you know what? And I told Coach Eddie, you saved my life with martial arts. I want to pay it forward. So these college kids are making the transition over. They can barely afford their phone bill.
Yeah.
Not to mention a private
membership.
coach. right? Because Coach Eddie's like, Anton, you're me. I charge $200-$300 an hour.
Oh, damn.
You need to be at least 150. I'm like, damn, I can't believe I'm charging 150. But these kids, they can't even afford $20 an hour.
Yeah.
So I paid for it by training these college athletes for free so they could make the transition over. I wake up at 4:00 in the morning, go pick the kid. They don't even have a car. I pick them up. I take them to the gym. I train one guy for an hour.
Wow.
I train the next guy for the next hour. By the time 10 o'clock hit, I am dead tired because I trained 4 guys 4 hours straight. I was like ripped, 6-packed up, and like, man, I didn't even lift weights because you burn so much calories doing
just
it.
Working all day.
Yeah, working all day. And then that's how I got into the game. And I was Coach Eddie. I was lucky enough to be his assistant coach at Fight Ready for some time. And then afterward, I asked Coach, hey, Coach, I love you and everything. I just need some time for myself to go on this van life. So I put that on hold a little bit, go on the van life. And once I understand this, it's easier for me now to go back and train the guys even to the next level. Because before I was able to train them physically, I had to be physically or technically sound. But now added on had to be the willpower to fall and get back up. It's just a different level now. So
It seems like you live in extremes a little bit. You went from like, an extreme alcohol dependence to like now you're doing this like MMA. You're doing 4 hours in the morning. You uprooted your life. You're gonna go do van life.
Yes.
Do you see that about yourself? Like
it's crazy you say that. Thank you. You're very, very observant. I recently found, I didn't realize this, but I've recently found out I have an addictive personality behavior. So things I'm really into, I take it to the max, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
It's funny I said because when I was my first year of recovering from alcohol, my friends actually during Christmas time, they're like, Anton, I got 2 friends who at the time like, hey Anton, why don't you go back to Vietnam with me? Since you got nothing to do. I'm like, man, I can go to Vietnam, do what? You were really bad for the past 10 years. Why don't we pay it forward to the third world country, go back there. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Use these little money that you have left, go to orphanages and bring a little bit of happiness to them. Bring them a piece of candy. A piece of candy, it costs you like 5 cents, would light up a kid for a week. I'm like, okay, so I went. So we visited so many temples, Buddhist temples, churches, orphanages, and we share a little bit of happiness to the kids who don't have parents. So when I did that, I kind of lost my train of thought.
It seems like your whole alcohol experience kind of really changed you.
Oh yeah, my bad. Let me continue. It came
it seemed like it really changed you to like go out and do good in the world for yourself and for others.
Thank you.
Would you change that?
Thank you so much for bringing that up. At first, when I was able to kick alcohol, my first 2-3 years, I was still ashamed of my alcoholism my past. And then now I understand, hey, you know what? I'm very proud of what happened because everybody falls. It's how you pick yourself back up that makes you a real man. A true sense of being a good person, the value of a good person is not what we have. A true sense of what you are as a good person is what you can give back when you have nothing. Yeah. So now I'm very proud of the fact that I was an alcoholic. I was very proud of the fact that I almost died, but I never gave up. So now I'm able to bring that to and understand it, internalize it, and actually apply it for myself. Now I could help others. When others are going through something that's drastic in their life, going through similar experience that I did, when they're about to give up, I could empathize with them. And I don't give them pity. I empathize and understand what we're going through. And that's where I understand. That's so beautiful. I'm so proud of that fact now. So I can empathize with everybody, and I don't judge them.
Could you help my friend Peter to quit alcohol?
That's a tall order, my friend.
Is he Korean?
No. I'm Vietnamese.
Okay, you're Vietnamese? Because Vietnamese, we thought that we drink a lot.
Yeah.
Turns out the Korean is like,
Koreans
Korean, maybe
Korean
even a little bit more.
Yeah. I think it's pretty even.
So, but me, I he has it under control.
No, he doesn't.
Me, I can't function. I'm a mess. I'm not even a functioning alcohol. I'm just a slob.
Yeah.
So
I get where you're coming from because like I do have some people that I know, some friends and people that I've like looked up to that they're not just like an addiction of like alcohol, because you could be a functioning alcoholic, right, and be addicted, but they were not functioning, and it was like a story that I would hear is like one of my friends, he would drink like a beer and he would black out.
Wow, just a beer?
Yeah,
just a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't know, just how his body would react to it. And then it's not the first time I've heard Well, the skateboard, and funny enough, like I heard this similar story to someone that I look up to. His name is Andrew Reynolds, pro skateboarder from back in the day, right?
Oh, I know.
Awesome.
Yeah, he used to like. He was a kid when he started like a lot of that drinking stuff, right? And he would run a crew called the Piss Drunks PD, and it would basically be videos of these skateboarders. They would drink and they were kids and they would go out skateboarding and just like fucking shit up or whatever. And that caused a lot of kids to be influenced by that. So a lot of kids took after that. And he told a story that he was drinking and he'd black out and, like a beer or something like that. And he just wouldn't be able to stop. And then one day he like crashed into like 2 trees, right? And he crashed in the middle. So like hit both sides of the car, but he didn't die.
Oh, he wasn't on a skateboard.
No, he was in a car, and then he was like, okay, like that's my time to like quit. And ever since then, he kind of like tells people like, hey, I'm sober now, but also like, don't look up to me what I said as a kid and take that with you like as an adult. Like I now understand like the power of my influence. Like I shouldn't have like pushed on other kids, right? And same thing with like my friend who drinks one beer. He doesn't drink at all anymore because he can't. He can't function at all. It's really bad for him. So like how you're like, oh, surprise, one beer, right? So I'm assuming it took you a little bit more than a beer, but at the same time the end result's the same, right? You're like,
that's
you're a
so
mess.
true.
You know what I mean? And it's hard for you to function like that because like you got stuff to do, you got people to help, right? You got dreams to achieve, right? And like I think in that case, like because it seems like you don't put what you're going through on other people, because you're not like, now that you found out you drink, you're not like, oh, you should stop drinking.
No,
you're like, oh yeah, you got this. Like this is a little different for you,
totally different.
But
Everybody
my
has a different
journey is
story.
this is where I went with my journey, right? So I think that's like really interesting because like the way you're approaching things, like you kind of want to help. Sounds like you want to help people the way they want to be helped. Like you're not.
Thank you. You actually hit it right on the spot.
Oh really? Okay,
super,
cool.
super cool. Every time when you go somewhere and you're talking to your friends or strangers, and they said you should do this, you should do this, I'm doing the opposite, right? Because they're telling you what would make you happy, because they're projecting themselves onto you with the word should. So I think you said it correctly. You could have $10 million in a bank account. You would still be miserable as hell.
Yeah.
Look at Kate Spade. Look at Anthony Bourdain. They're multi mega millionaires, world famous.
Yeah.
How come they die? They commit suicide because they found success. They think money would bring them success, happiness, but actually no, right? Money can't buy happiness. And I think I'm not 100% sure because I'm not in their shoes, but I'm just a little bit guessing a little bit because they've been raised their whole life that having a lot of money, being world famous would bring them success. So they dedicate and sacrifice their whole life to get to that point. And once they get to that point, they're like, oh my God, I wasted a lot of time and it's making me miserable. But they've gone so far, they don't know how to backtrack and turn a different direction. Like Robin Williams, right? He can make the whole world laugh and smile. The only person he can't make smile is himself.
Damn. That's
right? And it's a crazy thing. So having $10 million, $100 million can bring you happiness if that's what really brings you happiness. But sometimes other people, I don't need $10 million to make me happy because my uncle said to me once when I was visiting him in Australia, he says, Anton, let me share with you a secret to success. He's already a mega millionaire. I'm like, what, uncle? Know when is enough. I'm like, what? No is enough? I'm like, I'm always hungry. And he said, if you haven't, he gave me this example, a story. There's a guy that has $99 million cash in his bank account. He still busts his butt off, works so much, leave his wife at home, don't see his kids, so he can make that extra $1 million to make it $100 million. But there are other people, he has $20 in their back pocket, and that's their entire life saving.
Oh, that's me.
But they see that's there. But they see that $20 is $20 extra.
I think that goes back to like what you said, where it's like you have to be happy
100%.
with yourself before you can. You have to love yourself and be happy with yourself before you can like help someone else out or like really love someone else. Because I mean, I kind of see that too, where it's like like you, sometimes I input my own judgment to trying to help someone else, but it's never. It's like, oh, you should do something different. It's like, oh, you have a problem in your life. Hey, you could easily stop it. You just have to like stop thinking that way or stop doing that. And I have to catch myself, because it's like, okay, just because I think about things this way, just because I've gone through my own hardships and stuff, and like gotten to this point where like I do have like the mental capacity to like, choose to be happy.
That's true.
To get over something. And sometimes for me, it is that easy. And I believe that anyone can get there. But sometimes me telling someone that, hey, like, you just have to stop thinking like that. Or it's like, don't, it can be insensitive.
That's
true.
Like, yeah.
That makes sense. And, like, I've been, like, watching a lot of videos on, like, how the brain works. Not that I'm, like, a scientist or anything, but it just interests me, And so I've learned that, like, all these people who are millionaires, they work really hard, right? And then they get to where they want to be. They probably get some of the benefits, too, right? Some of the fame, some of the ability to kind of do whatever they want for the most part, like afford a nice car, homes, and people liking them, maybe not even for themselves, maybe for their money, but it comes with a lot of like stimuli, right? Like you're constantly kind of being bombarded by people that are trying to make you feel good, or things that make you feel good, right? And if you feel down, you'll buy something that makes you feel good, right? And I'm not saying that it does make you feel good, but it's temporary. And I think what happens, well, from what I've understood, is when you constantly are bombarded by things that make you feel good, once you get back from that like temporary like happiness, the baseline is lower, so you actually feel more depressed. And if you're so that's why people say like don't always try to constantly like stimulate yourself. Like people wake up and they'll go on their phone, they'll look at a cat video or something that makes them smile, right?
Me.
But you constantly do it to where at a certain point the return is like diminishing. Right?
That is so cool you brought that up, because remind me the Elvis story. Let me get back to that in a little bit. But continue that story. My uncle says.
Yeah.
He asked me one last question. What is that $1 million gonna buy you, Anton? I'm like, I don't know. He says, what is that $1 million extra? How many meals can it buy you? I'm like, man, that buys me a lot of fucking meals.
Yeah.
But he says, how many meals can you eat a day? I'm like, damn, it brings you perspective. You have
5.
10,000 meal, and you can only eat 2 a day or 3 a day. That 9,997 goes to waste. You throw it away because it's spoiled. I'm like, damn, that makes a lot of sense. And it also brings back the sense that, speaking about fame and how you feel good. The new movie, Elvis, right? It speaks about fame. When you're on top of the mountain, you're performing in front of 1 million people. You feel all good. You feel like you're king of the world.
Yeah.
But when you go back home and sleep on your bed, like you're just by yourself.
It just goes away.
It's false glamour.
He just
that you
needed
feel
a
that
dog.
bring. That's what I'm saying. Just need a dog.
Never be lonely.
So what happened? Because you can't be on top of the mountain all the time.
Yeah, no, you
What
can't.
happened when that limelight is gone? Can you love yourself without the limelight?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of artists, movie stars, they feel like it's gonna be they're in the limelight forever, and until it gets taken away, they're so depressed.
Yeah.
Because now no one's there to boost up their ego anymore.
Yeah.
So I give big props to people who could just understand it's work, and they go home, they understand who they are, they live in happy regardless if that fame or that money continues. It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Rob.
So let's liven it up a little bit. Usually on the show we always ask, what is your craziest dating experience? What is something that you feel you've had, like, just a bizarre experience?
Bizarre. I don't have anything crazy or bizarre, but one thing I really like is that my sister who helped me build the van, she's like, Anton, when you go on the van life, it's going to be a little different. Your dating is going to be a lot different. Before you had a house, you have a nice car, women are going to be attracted to that. But whoever you're going to find in this van, and they like you, for even though you're living out of the van, they're going to really love you for who you are.
Yeah.
And I still remember that. She loves the van more than me. She loved my dog more than me.
Oh, really?
She says she's in love with the dog. I came along with the dog.
Got it.
So I appreciate it so much. So when I see people that love me for who I am, and regardless of how little I have, man, they're the really one who love me for my heart, and I'm very, very grateful. And it's just a different high for me. A high is in like it's pure, you know?
Yeah. It's like
It's
genuine
not-
appreciation,
it's
right?
pure, and I just enjoy it so much. I'm like, man, how come I couldn't find it sooner? Before I used to think that. How come if I could just understand what I understand now and bring me back when I was 20, it would be so beautiful. But people don't realize, you know what? If I have a time machine, I could travel back in time, I wouldn't do it.
Oh,
I
I'd
still-
hella do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
I still have to go through everything I have.
Yeah.
Because in order to be the man I am today, I have to experience those things
Yeah.
in order to understand it, internalize it. Otherwise, it would just be one ear out of the other. I'll be an empty vessel. You know, an
Yeah.
empty vessel makes a lot of noise.
Yeah.
And it sounds good when you're saying it, but you really understand. It's almost like a parrot. A parrot, you guys, you know, they have parrot Olympic to test, to have competition with other parrots to see how many words they can remember.
Oh.
A parrot can remember up to like 2,000, 3,000 words.
Yeah, that's more than
And
me.
it's not, a regular person, an educated person only use about 500 words. A parrot could go up to 2,000, 3,000 words.
Jesus.
But they remember these words, but can they understand it?
Yeah.
They memorize it
Yeah.
on a computer, can they understand it?
It's like an echo chamber.
Yeah. So people who hears it, they could repeat it. Yeah, it's cool, but do you really understand, internalize it, to pass it forward, to pass on that light for other people? So I think I needed those experiences to be the man I am today. I'm super grateful. I probably lost a lot of gray matter and a lot of brain cells through all the trauma I've been through.
Yeah.
But you gained a lot of heart.
Yeah, I gained a lot. I gained that, and it's me. If I
Yeah.
change it, I wouldn't be the man I am today. So I'm super grateful. For
Man,
that.
that's awesome.
And I wouldn't be able to sit here and have this conversation with you
No.
if I didn't go through that.
I can tell you've been through a lot of shit, you know, and it's really like changed you and like, you know, really impacted who you are and the kind of love that you give out into the
Yeah.
world. And especially like leaving all your attachments. Wait, so do you not have a house anymore in Arizona?
I currently don't have a house.
You're just
anymore.
living out of a
I'm
van.
still in the van.
Oh,
Wow, that's
I
crazy.
parked my house in front of her. I parked my van in front of her house.
shit. You a good girlfriend. Wait, are you working now then? Or
I'm still working. I'm still doing. I still train people on the side
for free?
It depends. If they got people need it, yes, I do.
Yeah.
But the people who are wealthy
Yeah.
and they want to learn, of course, I charge them.
And then you're doing your real estate.
I do real estate. Sometimes I pull up a
On the
normal
van.
van. They're like, what the
You're like, damn, this
hell?
guy's gonna sell me a house. He came in his
Here's
house.
the house.
This guy, is he gonna sell me a house or rob my house? But let me go back to that last thing you said earlier. It was very touching to me. He says, what did you say at the end? Like people, I feel like people come and go in your life. All the things that happens to you, it didn't make you a better person. I don't know, it does make you a better person, but in the sense, as in all the trauma, all the stuff that you go through, imagine if it's like sandpaper. Everybody has a diamond, a raw diamond inside of them. A raw diamond, if you guys know, it's very ugly. It looks like it's very milky looking.
Oh.
It's look like an ugly rock. But every hardship that you go through, it's like a sandpaper sanding it, chipping it away so that way it could shine bright.
Oh, okay.
You know, so I see the hardship as like sandpaper to help me uncover the light inside of us. And all of us have that capability. Every one of us do have a diamond inside of us, whether we're allowing the difficulty to sand us away or to stand down or determination. You know, it's how you look at it.
No, I like
so
that.
if you look at positively, it's standing away your diamond, your soul, so it could shine brighter.
Yeah.
I think Rihanna said that.
Yeah, is it? Oh yeah, that's right, a diamond. Thank you, appreciate the correlation.
So I kind of want to like go back around to what Mario was saying. You're saying that obviously you have had too many crazy dating experiences, but you did mention that whoever
I
finds
have pretty crazy.
Oh, you do?
experiences.
Oh, do you want to leave for a second?
She knows all about it. Actually, I told her what happened about my past.
Okay.
It's funny when I actually know her for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
I know her for 10 years. She actually won
She was
Miss
9?
Vietnamese Arizona.
Miss Vietnamese.
She won Miss Vietnamamese Arizona when
Oh,
she was
cool.
17.
And she was
It's funny how the story happened. I was actually involved in the community at the time. I like to give back.
Yeah.
At the time, I was still drunk.
Oh.
I was drinking at the time. I was dating the MC for her pageant during the time.
Wow.
And the MC's brother, me and him, we were in backstage. We were looking at the girls because we work backstage, and we're like, and then he's had a bet with me. He's like, hey, I bet you $5. Who's gonna win? You pick one. Who's gonna win? I'm gonna pick who's gonna win. If you lose, you give me $5 for fun, and then at the time it was only $5. If you lose,
Oh,
you pay me
damn,
$5.
$5 for
Right
fun?
now it's like
Yeah.
15, and then he picked her to win.
Oh.
And after he goes first, I'm like, man, you picked her, you're gonna lose. Easy money, just give me $5 now. I picked another girl to win. Her name was Angela, and at the end, she happened to win. And after he goes first, I'm like, man, you picked her, you're gonna lose. Easy money, just give me $5 now. I pick another girl to win. Her name was Angela, and at the end, she happened to win. And and then the girl I picked was second place.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's
And
pretty
I
good.
told her,
That's pretty
you know,
good intuition.
I told her, you know, you owe me because you owe me $5. It's only karmic debt that we meet 10 years later again, and now you have to date me.
And now,
because of
then
that
that was his
$5.
pickup line.
That was a good one.
And then they went out for fun.
So I'm like, she was the hardest thing because actually it's funny how we bump each other again because we still know each other from here and there because we do stuff in the community. But at the beginning of 2022,
This year?
yeah, beginning of 22 this year. During New Year, people go to the temple like crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like it's packed, 2,000-3,000 people. The producer for the entertainment department at the temple asked me, "Hey Anton, could you please help me? I have an emergency situation. I need you to come and bring your people that you know who could sing and perform. Go and help me because a bunch of people drop off because they were sick or something happened." And I'm like, okay, and I come. And so I called Tiffany. I called a few other people. We came. He called me 2 days before. Usually you set up for a show. It's like 2 months in advance. Called 2 days before New Year. Everybody's like, you know, getting drunk and everything. And then luckily Tiffany said yes, and a few other people yes. So we came to the show. He asked me to be the MC of the show, and I didn't realize this. He called me 2 days later after the show. He's like, Anton, we've been doing this for 12 years at the temple. 2,000-3,000 people that goes to the temple. They said in 12 years, this was the best show they've ever seen.
Wow.
I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, what are you talking about? I just didn't think of anything of it. And then a week later, he called again. He's like, Anton, you know I'm a man of few words. I only say thank to you already, but I want to call on you. Thank you again. That was the best show we've ever had. It actually, the pre-show, we were the pre-show. Eclipsed the main guy who sing for Paris by Night. You know Paris by Night, right?
Paris by Night.
The big Vietnamese show that's international. It eclipsed that one guy who was performing. You guys got such good energy, so positive, and was there willing to spread your love and energy to people, and people could feel that. Could you help me again for the rest of the year?
You must be a great MC.
No.
If you ever need a co-host, let me know.
No, it's not an MC thing. I just came there and introduce people. It's not me.
Yeah.
It's the performers, the singers, the performers, the dancers that make the show. So I'm like, okay, cool, and then we'll do it. And then so me and her and other people have been doing it since up to approximately until today.
Yeah.
We're preparing again for the New Year's show again on January 20th.
Oh, okay.
I can't believe it's almost a year. It's funny because it's funny because when we performed together at the beginning of 2022.
Wait, you sing?
I don't sing. Actually, I came up and introduced her. Right?
Oh, okay.
After she sang, I came up and hey, you can't get off the stage yet. Hang tight a little bit. Let me interview you. I'm like, hey, Tiffany, we know each other for 10 years already. I've been, what was the word? We were speaking Vietnamese. Let me translate. But
You're like, oh, em đẹp lắm.
Em đẹp lắm, em ơi. I'm like, we know each other for 10 years, and I've been, are you familiar with Vietnamese?
A little bit.
Yeah. Anh đã cưa em 10 năm nay rồi, sao em chưa đổ vậy em? It means, and I've been gaming you for 10 years. How come you haven't, become my prey yet? It wasn't a straight translation. The translation
Yeah,
is
that was
like-
a very rough translation to
but the
say.
Vietnamese version was super smooth.
Is this an older Vietnamese man like thing? Like, become my prey?
The Vietnamese version is really smooth because her mom was in the audience. Actually, her mom was the one like afterward. Her mom's like, hey, Tiff, how come you don't give Anton a chance? Because you guys look good together on stage. And it was so funny because I was just taking it as a joke, just to get people to laugh.
Yeah.
And then on stage she's like, oh, I play hard to get. I'm like, hard to get for 10 years? Holy shit. And then we didn't think of anything of it. We did a few more shows together, and then something happened after the fall festival, which is like September 15th. And then things just like, it was I don't know, it was the right time.
Yeah.
It was the right time. It's almost as if you're cooking rice, right? It takes you 20 minutes to cook the rice, but you keep opening it every 5 seconds. Like, is it done yet? Is it done yet? It's gonna take longer.
But in this case, it's 10-year-old rice.
It takes 10 years and 9 months for the rice cooker to finally cook that rice, for it to be ripe, the fruit to be ripe, or the rice to be done cooking.
I think these metaphors are getting a little...
Yeah, these Google Translate needs to be updated.
It's memorable. So
I'm glad I did not go to you for my Viet words.
Yeah.
Hey,
Imagine you get a
don't go
speech
to-
under
don't
his
go to
translation.
Catherine.
When I needed help
You
for
don't
my,
want to go to Catherine.
I did not.
either.
I went to Catherine's mom. Catherine's mom helped me with my speech.
No, you don't want to go to her either.
I
Catherine's
did.
mom.
She
I know.
helped me.
I know you can go her, but her English it's totally broken. If you want to go to somebody, you don't pick me. But you look at pick me. Look at the result.
Damn, I should have gone with you.
So things just happen at the right time. It's
Moral of the story.
the universe gives you what you need, not what you want.
In this case, it's rice.
Yeah.
In case it's
10-year-old
right.
race.
And if the universe was giving me and her to hook up, let's say 2 years ago, we would have broken up.
Yeah.
We would be in worse position. We would hate each other probably because we haven't grown yet. We haven't understand how to love ourselves.
No, that
And
makes sense.
yeah, she even though she's young, she understands how to love herself way before, because it took me 40 years to get where I am today. And
Yeah.
she's way ahead of me.
To take it back, your experiences before you learned to love yourself. Like Peter had asked, like, what other crazy relationships have you been on besides her? Well, not that she's crazy, but
she's healthy.
she's healthy.
She's healthy.
But in your
She's
past,
very
because like
healthy.
you were going through some ups and downs,
Yeah.
man. So
I think
like
the
I imagine some of the stuff you've been through with other
Yeah,
people.
the craziest is probably during when I was drunk. When I woke up in the hospital, and then
That realtor like drinking. alcoholic
during that
phase.
stage. So it's funny. My ex-girlfriend at the time, I was seeing somebody, and then my ex was still working with me. So I had two women that was very important to me. One is the one I in love with. The other one I love, but in a family sense. But having one is your ex, one's your current lover. It's hard to have those two people in sync with your life at the same time, right?
Sounds complicated.
It sounds complicated. So it's funny. It's a beautiful story. So after I woke up in the hospital and then I went home, I took care of myself for the next week. I was okay again. I cut my hair. I get dressed. I dressed appropriately again. I didn't look like a crazy person. I went back to the hospital with my ex-girlfriend because she was there to take care of me. She's like, okay, these are the people that helped you. I want go thank them. So I brought like tray of egg rolls and spring roll. I came back to the hospital and I say to the nurses like, hey, my name's Anton. This is for you. Thank you for saving my life.
Aw.
They looked at me and they're like, what? Anton? Who are you? I'm like, you don't remember? I'm the guy in that room.
No.
I'm like, oh,
Because you look different.
you look good now. You look like a crazy cave person, like Cro-Magnon before. Thank you for this. And I told him, I remember something when I was unconscious. I don't know if it's true. I was hallucinating. Did I kick somebody in the face really hard?
Oh.
And then this girl in the back, she's like 6 foot tall. She's like this. She's so embarrassed to put her head.
The one with the black eye.
Kicked
You
me.
get an extra egg roll.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know how I kicked her when I'm in bed. I kicked her because at the time I was hallucinating. I thought they were the
The demons.
similar, close to it. I thought they were the mafia trying to get my spleen and my liver.
Oh, black market.
Right? So I was like, oh man, I can't go like this. I conjured up all my last ounces of power and energy to give them one last fight. And I jumped up from the bed. I bicycle kicked somebody right in the head like Ronaldo did, like Ronaldo in soccer. And I kicked some. I remember. And afterward, I was out.
Yeah.
And then and she's like, it was me. And she was 6 foot, beautiful, tall, blonde girl. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I was hallucinating. I thought you guys were trying to steal my spleen, my liver. But now I realize I'm an alcoholic. You can't sell them for me.
Yeah.
People wouldn't take it all.
It's not worth anything.
And then afterward, my ex-girl, hey, you gotta go say to this nurse. She's the one who literally spent 24/7 with you. She loves you a lot. Go say thank you to her. I came and saying like, she's older. She's like 20 years older than me. She's like, thank you so much for taking care of me. And she's like, you're welcome, son. She's this white lady. I'm like, son? And she's like, you don't remember, son? You called me mom for the past 5 days when you were here.
Oh, wow.
Unconsciously, you told me your whole life story. I'm like, wow, really? And then she pulled me aside, like, come here, I want to talk to you in private. And he's like, and then he pulled me to the side, like, hey, I know you have a difficult relationship between the two women in your life. Let mom, as a mom, I want to share with you this last advice because you're going to need it in order to move forward. You're going to have to leave both of them in order to move on. I'm like, holy shit. I told her my whole life story in those 5 days, and she told me I had to leave both of them. Yeah, my journey had to be by myself in order for me to grow and learn my lesson. I'm like, oh my God, it's so difficult. And then the struggle that I had was to leave them. To leave one, it was hard.
Yeah.
Not to mention, now she said I had to leave two. And then at the time, I was still immature, but afterward, when I was going through my 1 year of recovery of sobering up, she was so right. She's another guardian angel in my life. I had to leave both of them in order to be the man I am today, in order for me to heal. If I would have held on to them, my wound would keep me scratching. Imagine you just got surgery, right? They sit you up. They said, don't touch it. You keep touching it, and you keep stitching yourself. They had to patch it up over and over again. And that's what I did. I had to let both of them go in order for me to grow and move forward. So I'm super thankful. Yeah, everybody who come to my life, whether for the rest of my life or for a short period of time or for years or months or a second, I super appreciate. The two women at that time in my life was an intricate part of who I am today. I love them dearly. And thank you for the time and the love, your heart that you gave me. And I will forever treasure that. And I still wish them the very best, even though we're not together anymore. But I still wish them all the happiness in the world. And thank you for the love that you give me during that time.
Awesome.
Actually, I during the beginning when I started the van life, I was about to jump out of the relationship, the previous relationship I was with, into another relationship. But then
You're
luckily,
getting all these girls with the van, dude. Like,
It's a dog.
and then it's crazy. She was a lot younger, like 20 years younger than me. And but luckily, my sister, the one that helped me build the van, she says, Anton, don't get into another relationship yet.
Yeah.
You're not healed yet. So if you're not healed, you jump in a relationship, you would hurt her and you hurt yourself even worse. I was like, God dang it. Oh my God, she's so pretty and cute. I'm like, and then I told myself, hey, you already get to choose all the decisions in your past since I was born until I was 38, 39 at the time, 38, 39. And it didn't work out too damn well. Why don't I listen to somebody who's wiser than me for once? And if it doesn't work out, I could always go back, right? Yeah. I'm like, okay, let me try it. So with all my might, I did it. I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's try it and just heal myself for the next year and not get into a relationship. And she was so right because I was able to heal. I understand what I did good, did wrong. Because I believe this is one mistake that people jump into another relationship too fast, and then they repeat all the toxic shit that they've done before. They never understand a chance to heal yet and understand what I did wrong. And then same thing happened. Like, how come it happened? The same shit happened previous relationship to this relationship. Am I just a fucking loser or what? Because I did that with a lot of my past relationship because I didn't let time to heal.
Yeah, just make sure you're talking
So once I was able to heal, I see what I did good, I kept. Whatever I didn't good, I tried to eliminate and not do that again.
Yeah.
So once I went through that year and I understand it now. Now I could finally be in a relationship, be a healthy relationship, and know what to do. Of course, there's gonna be hiccups here and there, but at least they're very minimal. It's not like a relationship breaker.
It's funny that you said it because Peter's pretty much the same way. Like you're what, a year and a month out of your last long term, right?
It's gonna be it's about a year and a month.
Yeah, and he decided to take a break, like from relationships and everything too.
So how long has it been, Peter?
It's been a year and a month.
Good.
I usually take a while. Yeah, my last one before that it was like 3 years, I think.
Yes,
so
yes. My last relationship was 5 years. No, you allow yourself to grow and heal and understand. You know, sometimes you're like, God dang it, she's so hot. You're thinking for the wrong reason. Yeah. And I love this relation I have now because I wasn't her type. She told me straight out when her mom told her that why don't you try Anton? I was like, man, he's not my type. And then at the time, I didn't think she was my type. I was like, yeah, I'm used to that type. I like this certain type of women. But then I didn't really. Now I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's my healthiest relationship. You know, because I was able to look past the exterior. I love her for her soul, her heart, not for the outside exterior. Because she wasn't my type at the beginning, and she thought she's I wasn't type.
that's Miss Arizona, Vietnam.
Arizona, Vietnam right here.
I was into the MCs at the time. So it's funny when we're able to see past the exterior and love the person for who they are. My big brother, currently another big brother, another guardian angel of mine. He's like, Anton, thank you for sharing with me about your current relationship. Let me ask you something. Did you love her? What did you love most about her? Well, no, why did you fall for her? So I fall for her because of her heart. She did this. She was there for me when I was like super sick for 3 weeks. And like, wow, so you didn't like her for her looks? Like, man, she wasn't even my type. And then she's like, you know what? That's so cool because that's actually true love. When you love somebody for their heart and not for the exterior. And he told me he went through a lot of relationship, way more than I did, because he was falling in love for the wrong reason. Also, is for their exterior. And finally, his current wife, after a plethora of women in his life, and he says, I fall in love with my wife, and finally the person I actually settled down to get married, is the one I love because of her soul. He went through 10 different engagement. Fiancés.
That's like
over 10.
That's like my worst nightmare.
Over 10. And then because he fell in love with them because of their looks first. And then it never worked out. It was all fake.
Christ, I can't even get a text back.
Now the last one he married is the one he actually fell in love with because of her heart. And I was like, damn, oh my God, I'm so cool. I'm similar to you right now because he got married 20 years ago. He's a little older. He's above 50.
Okay.
So I'm like, wow, that's so cool. I'm finally doing something that I feel like it's very pure and good.
Yeah.
And healthy. The words is right.
I like that.
Healthy,
I like that. I like that a lot. I'm gonna actually take those words into consideration within my own
words? What words?
waiting a while before jumping into something else with someone.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
It's on tape. I told us why I said it. Adrian, edit this out.
Waiting and letting yourself grow.
Yeah. No, of course.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think there's a good and bad type of waiting. Like waiting to do nothing is like not really that great. It's a waste of time. Waiting with like a purpose, allowing other things to kind of like work at themselves out, especially like if you need space to kind of reflect.
Yes.
I think that's really important.
I think so
like for me, like, how you were saying like, oh yeah, I want to wait, but damn, she's so hot, right?
Yeah.
Like I understand that because like it's almost like a fear of like missing out, right? She's so hot right now. It's like, well, why? What happens if this is not around a year from now?
Thank you so much for bringing that up because I really we all hear this before, but really understanding it, and I understand this. Whatever belongs to you will always belong to you. Whatever doesn't belong to you, no matter how hard you grip it, it'll be like you're gripping sand. And when you want to hold tight sand in your hand, in your fists, and you press it really hard, don't hold it, it actually seep through your finger cracks and it'll be gone. Mm-hmm. So if you want somebody in your life and you force it, it would never work out anyway. So let things be naturally, and it will, whatever belongs to you will always belong to you. And I learned that through the van life. And oh my God, it's so amazing. Me and her, we know each other for 10 years. It would never worked up at the beginning. You let things go and it comes back to you. It really belongs to you. It really meant to be yours. Yeah. So it's amazing. It's weird when things happen and you kind of foresee it before. Like, oh my God, I heard about this. It's actually happening to me. Like it's amazing.
Well, I want that happen to me.
I think it's already happened to you guys already. I think it's already happened already, but we don't realize it yet because there's a saying a lot of philosophers and beautiful minds in the world asks, what's the most precious things in life? And a lot of philosophers or people who are super, super smart, they said the most precious things in your life is what you had and then you lost it. And now you cherish it. It's just like love. Now that's the most precious thing in life because you lost it and you can't get it back. Right? Most people think it like that. But then when they ask Buddha, what is the most precious thing in life? Buddha says, it's not what you've had and lost. It's what you currently have. Oh. And I'm like, holy shit. That's so true. It's so beautiful. It's what you currently have.
What if I have nothing?
Can you see it in that? It's actually better to have nothing because isn't Aristotle says, the more I learn, the more I realize I know nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. When you have nothing, it's actually the most beautiful thing because you get to reflect on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you know what? I still have my health. I wake up in the morning. I make myself smile every day. I'm like, hey, I'm smiling. I still have air in my lungs. I could still walk. I could still breathe. Oh, one of the tragic thing that happened to me is one of my boys. He's in my crew that give back to the community. We were the executive boards for the Vietnamese community for the past 3 years. Oh. We worked together on the board, and then he's a 38-year-old, good-looking young man, big house, nice cars. His girlfriend is 20 years old, half his age. Like he has everything in the world, and then about a year ago, he had a major stroke, 2 brain surgeries in 1 month. He was in ICU for a month. Now he woke up paralyzed.
Damn.
Can never walk again. Damn. If you tell him, hey, if you have to give everything up, all the possessions you have, and now you're homeless, but you get to walk again, would you do it?
Well, fuck yeah.
He'd probably do it, right? He'll probably, yeah, I'll do it. So if you have your health, you can walk, you have air in your lung, holy shit, you could do anything in the world. Anything in the world. And when that happened to him, like his whole world collapsed. But I talked to him every 2-3 months. I told him about my van life, and he shared me what's going on in his life, what has in his recovery stage.
Yeah.
And we bounce ideas and concept and love, compassion with each other. And like we help each other grow. I was like, holy shit, Phil, thank you. You don't know this, but you're my inspiration. The reason why I started becoming an MC, and actually I became an MC by an accident, because we were hosting the fall festival together for the community. And then since I'm on the board, I get to choose the performers, right? And then I said, you know what? I'm going to do something different this time. I'm going to rap. I've never rapped before. I suck at singing karaoke. I suck. My friends won't invite me to the karaoke party because I thought I was hot. I was good, man. I suck really bad. You know, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to rap. I did it in dedication for Phil because my friend Phil, who actually had got paralyzed, when I talked to him while we were planning to do the show, he was so positive. Even though he couldn't walk, but he was like so positive. I'm like, Phil, how do you do it, man? How are you so positive after you're paralyzed? You're still positive. You know, I wake up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm cranky. I'm cussing at life, and here you are, can't walk anymore. You're still positive. He's like, you know what? Shit happens. He's like, shit happens. I can't do anything about it. Shit happened. Like, wow, shit happens. It stuck with me. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do a dedication. I'm gonna rap. If Phil could do that, I'm gonna fucking rap. Even if I suck, it's still a win for me, because a win for me is not to rap good. It's to overcome my fear and be on stage. So I rap. I did a song on behalf of him. I came up on stage. Go on, when it was my time, I was like,
you can do it.
No, I came up and I said, hey, I still remember because I was practicing a lot, and I was like, no, I said this to Phil. I said, Phil, hello family. This is your boy A-N to the T-O-N, Anton Megaton in the house, and I love you. This song I'm about to do right now is for my brother in arms, the one and only Mr. Phil Cow. Phil, we love you. And then I did my thing, right? And I did my thing, and then even though I did it, and I just did it for him, and I did it for myself to overcome my fear. And after that, I thought I was done, because we're done with our 3 years giving back, and the next people are on. And then ever since I did that, and then people start calling me to help them, you know, with their shows, their events. I was like, holy shit, I did this thing out of a whim, and it just worked out. And if I didn't do that, I wouldn't, meet her.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was
Girls love rappers.
Cool.
So.
Yeah. Girls love short rappers. One of her things is like, because her mom's like, how come you don't want Anton? And her dad knew. Her dad's like, the reason why you're hesitant with Anton is because he's short like me. Because she's used to tall guys, right? And then she actually that's one of her reasons I actually hold her back. And then when she told me the reason, I was like, man, do you remember? You guys remember Napoleon, the Emperor of France?
He was 5'7".
Yeah, Napoleon is like Napoleon is a 4'5" on a good day.
No, he's not.
He's really short.
He's 5'7".
Oh, yeah, he's really short. And then the newspaper article actually interviewed him. They said, how come are you insecure because you're an Emperor of France, but you're kind of short? He's like, regular people measure themselves from the ground to their head. I measure myself from head to heaven. So he's the tallest. Yeah. Right. So I appreciate that. And the idea of I'm 5'5" on a good day, but I stand 6 foot. I tell people that all the time. Oh, okay. And then now, if you repeat yourself enough, people will believe it too. Now she believes it. I'm 6 foot.
I actually say the same thing too. I'm 5'8", but I'm 6 feet when I stand on my wallet.
Yeah, I love that. Damn, I get shorter when I stand on my wallet.
All right, guys, welcome back to Lightning Round, where we ask our guests some rapid fire questions. Anton, are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Your favorite food?
Pho. So damn typical. But I did eat that a lot. Yeah.
What makes you happy?
Being happy with myself.
What makes you sad?
When I'm not happy with myself.
Do you have a fetish?
Of course.
What is it?
She's giggling. I told her this, and she was giggling, getting jiggy with it in the confession room.
Oh, sir.
Hey,
That's pretty good.
Everybody has a dream.
No,
There's nothing wrong with that.
I know.
Hey, I hear that Jesus
can't see in there.
Jesus actually,
can't see in
Jesus married Magdalena. Mary Magdalena was a prostitute in the village, right?
Yeah.
When everybody was about to stone her to death because she said she's a sinner for being a prostitute, God says what? Let the first one who don't sin cast the first stone. Everybody dropped their rocks and went back to their home because they were all sinners.
So he said that to her, and then he got with her.
God sees the beauty inside of her, right? So God
He
saw
saw
the
something
light
inside of her.
Yeah.
She did it to make a living. I mean, what if she has a mom that dying from cancer?
Yeah.
She has no other way to take care of her mom, to get the medicine for except to do that. It comes from a pure place.
Yeah.
Yeah, God saw the pureness in people, not what they do. A lot of time people or parents, when a kid do something bad, right? The parents, I'm so fucking disappointed in you, but you don't know you traumatized your kid's world. They're a good kid.
Yeah.
They just did something that was bad. So instead of saying, "Hey, I'm so disappointed," you don't say that. Say, "Hey, you know what? I love you. I love you for you are. I'm very proud of you. I'm just disappointed in this decision that you make."
You're really,
so they understand that.
You're really defending getting jiggy in the
Yeah,
confession room,
yeah,
aren't you?
yeah.
Like you're good. Like we're not judging you.
Hey, if God, the purest person in the world and the universe,
The first sinner
could marry Magdalena. Mary Magdalena had beautiful
All right.
life, big kids with her. I could get jiggy within a confession room.
All right, choose one. God or Buddha, and you have to choose one.
Both. The ball came from the pure place. I can't choose one when it comes to that.
What scares you?
Actually, it's funny. I don't have anything that's scary
That's
to
okay.
me
Yeah,
anymore.
neither do I.
Before I had a lot of fear, but now I can't think of it anymore. Maybe I still do, but now I can't think of anything right now.
What's your rapper name?
Oh, it's funny. Anton Megaton. Megaton is my the name that Coach Eddie gave me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, for the, fight
yeah.
people, they have fight name. So Coach Eddie, hey, you know what, Anton Megaton. So that's the one. That's my fight name. And then my fighters they also gave me another name. They call me the blacksmith. Yeah, because blacksmith forged weapons out of steel, right?
Yep.
I forged weapon out of human flesh. I turned them into a regular person into a deadly weapon.
Who's your favorite rapper?
Oh man, this is gonna be a little bit. Everybody like, oh, it's so common, but no, Tupac, he's so deep. Man.
Yeah.
At the age of 25, he already passed away,
Yeah.
but he changed the whole world. People in Africa, people in Europe, people that's like nowhere close to the United States, actually knows his song and then actually raps along with them. That's how he touched people from Africa, in Antarctica, polar bears in Antarctica is rapping to Tupac song nowadays.
If
so
there's
he's
something
very
you could
touching.
change about yourself, what would it be?
Nothing. I'm super happy with
don't wanna
myself.
be-
I don't even want to be
You don't wanna be
taller.
6 feet?
What is that song? I wish I was taller. I wish I was
I
a
was
baller. I
baller.
wish I had a girl who I could call her.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I used to be like that, but
Yeah.
I'm very happy with myself.
If you could buy anything for yourself right now, what would it be?
Buy anything for myself right now, dude. I'm so happy with everything I have already. I wouldn't buy anything.
Being happy already. If
Yeah,
there's
I don't
anything you
know.
could buy, you're
Buy-
already happy.
Right now, I would like to buy you guys a cup of coffee after this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dang. All right. Who's your favorite fighter?
Shit.
That's the one that stumps you?
That's the one that stumps me.
That's the one that stumps you?
My favorite fighter, dude, I had so many, but currently the one that's I just saw was probably Alex Pereira,
Oh,
the one
yeah,
who just
yeah.
beat Easy.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, oh my god, it was really cool. But back in the day was George St. Pierre.
Okay,
Yeah.
You know, everybody loves him. But I usually like the underdogs better. The people
Okay.
that didn't give him a shot, like Alex, nobody
yeah.
gave him a shot, and he shocked the world again for the third time.
Yep.
So I appreciate that. But you know, anybody who overcome falling and getting back up, they're my hero.
We love a good underdog.
So I love
Underdog
that. I
story's
don't
great.
have a personal
Yeah.
favorite, but at this time,
Okay, cool. Oh,
Alex.
nice. Favorite day of the week?
Friday.
Friday. Okay.
Yeah,
Makes
I have a
sense.
long weekend to drink, but I don't have a long
Yeah.
weekend to drink anymore. It's just chill. Yeah, I like chilling.
All right. Favorite season?
Spring.
Spring. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
People get depressed. I get depressed in the winter
Wintertime,
before. Winter,
yeah.
fall, and winter.
Love
Yeah,
winter
yeah.
makes me so
Seasonal
happy.
depression.
Yeah, I love it. Depressed. And
Okay,
also because
that
I was
makes
born 15 minutes before Jesus Christ was born. So I only got one present for a birthday and Christmas. So I get jiffed off. So I'm like, man.
Oh.
And that's why he's allowed to get jiggy with it.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the,
Okay.
in
Yeah.
in the confession.
What's the thing you miss the most about not living an event?
I'm still living in the van.
I know, like, what's the thing that you miss the most about, like, all the things you had before you?
One thing, probably showering. Because because
you're such a good girlfriend.
Yeah. When I'm in the van, it's hard for me to shower, and I have to conserve water a lot. So I miss the full shower. Sometimes I have to quick shower, and it's cold. It's like 40 degrees outside. I'm like, man, I need a shower, and I can't get a hot water to work. So probably the shower.
Okay.
I have to wipe. I use a lot of baby wipes.
Yeah, I feel like that's actually the most.
Wow, in the confession room.
He's all sweating bullets. And like, oh shit,
man, I'll be sweating like a prostitute in church.
Yo. Okay, if you could choose one profession for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh shit, I'm not good at a lot of things. So, one profession, I don't know.
You're literally a trainer, a real estate agent,
but all of them has
an MC.
All of them has something that's
an engineer.
Yeah, I suck at engineering. But you know what? I say this to myself all the time. I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. But one thing that I do answer myself is that regardless of how rich I am or how rich I will be, but if I lose everything, I'll be okay washing dishes or cleaning toilets again.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
for $4.
Yeah. Because once you make it up there and you fall again, why do you commit suicide? All your knowledge of how to make money is in here between your ears. Doing stuff that when you're rock bottom make you a more resilient person. And I learned this from my dad. I used to be super embarrassed because my dad, when we first came to America, my dad has this ugly Pinto. He would drive me and my brother to school, and I would be embarrassed, like, Dad, can you park a little far away from the school because the kid's gonna see, my friend's gonna see me. So I walked out. I felt so bad now that looking back, I hear my dad say, I said to my dad, because my dad was a big time boss over in Vietnam.
Yeah.
He sacrificed everything so we get a second chance to be in the States, to have a freedom, a second chance not to do anything you want.
Yeah.
And for him to give all that up, because he had maids and he had a three-story house in Vietnam, he gave everything up.
Jeez.
For me to go to have my freedom here, to have a future. And me and my brother would say that to my dad. I felt so terrible. It kills my heart nowadays. So now I just want to say thank you, Dad, for not being mad at me to say that, and hopefully it didn't hurt you. You knew I was still a child. I was 8-9 years old. Thank you for loving me so much. Even though I did so many bad shit, you still know to give me room to grow and understand where I'm coming from. And if I have a kid one day, child one day, God, I wish I could have that. If I could pay that forward through you, to what you instilled in me, to pay it forward in life and do the same thing for my kid. So thank you, Dad, for forgiving me and then giving me the room to grow so I could pay it forward to your grandkids. So thank you for that. I really, it hurt me for. Thank you.
And last question. What kind of advice would you give to a guy getting to a street fight right now if they don't know how to fight out?
Actually, Bruce Lee says
to get
this.
some free lessons.
Yeah, Bruce Lee says this. First thing is just to run.
Run. Okay.
Run. Don't fight.
Because you're a slow runner, even if my cardio ain't good.
Even if you could beat the other guy, if you beat him up, now you get arrested for assault with a deadly weapon, even though you use your fists because you're well trained.
Well, what if you're not trained though? This is for like a
if you're not well trained. Okay, you run first. But if you get cornered, put your chin down. Imagine you have a tennis ball stuck to your chin. So that way you don't stick your chin up. Most people fight, they put their chin up, they get clocked, and they get knocked out. Chin down. Yeah. Your forehead is so strong, it could take a straight punch to the forehead. Because back in the Wild West, back in the day when they were still doing gunslinging, people who knows how to fight, they would pin their chin down, and they will take a straight punch to the forehead. Your forehead is so dense, you could actually take a 22 bullet straight on. Jesus Christ. Penetrate it. So when a guy punched in your forehead, they would most likely break their wrist or their knuckles. Put their chin down, take that. If you're going to take a hit, don't take it in where the knockout zone is. Take it straight to the forehead. And then if you're going to punch and counter back, just close your eyes, just wing it, but you're still looking up. Don't close your eyes and swing, haymaker. Yeah. And just 1, 2, 3, and then
okay.
Hope for the best.
All right. Cool. I got it.
Chin down. We'll practice it. We'll practice it afterwards.
Oh, wait, eyes open.
Oh.
Yeah, chin down, and just swing for the fence. If you hit him, don't stay there. Run.
Okay.
Cool, hit him, let him drop. Just take it out because his homeboy might be,
right there with the gun.
All right, guys, that concludes our lightning round. I want to say thank you to our amazing guest, Anton. Let us know where we can find you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it so much. You can find me on Instagram, Anton Megaton, and that's it. Or on Facebook, Anton Vu.
Nice.
Anton, and then V as in Victor, U as in universe. I am not as conceited as that sound. Victor of the universe.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us on this episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below what you guys want to hear us talk about next. And as busy as life gets, don't forget, live fast, eat ass.